Hey everyone, happy Thursday. Received a request to look at OKLO and ASTS and just to share my thoughts. So I figured I would record a quick video. So let's jump into it. Alright, so ASTS. Why am I so bullish after it ran, what was it, 2,000% since May? Like 1,600%. Why am I still bullish? So, what you could see here is we had years of accumulation that ended up leading to this monster run that was driven by news, if I remember correctly. If you zoom in on the weekly, you can see that volume's very clear, right? That volume supported this push up. And then we had a high volume rejection right above all-time highs. So this all-time high I have listed as the major supply. It's now holding as demand, which is the first point as far as why I'm bullish so far. And what you can even see on the weekly is that we have a comparatively lower volume consolidation. And so if we look on the daily, so what I believe is happening, as I mentioned, there were years of accumulation, news-driven event that boosted it up over 1,000%, and now it's consolidating again. And this consolidation looks like reaccumulation to me, just on a smaller time frame. And so what you can see here is it looks like a rounded bottom. You can see the bullish volume looks solid still, and you have relative equal highs here, which feels like a pretty common footprint when you analyze some of these stocks that are in accumulation, because what happens is they come up, they have a test, come back down, another test, come back down. And what institutions are doing is they're testing these levels and they're accumulating as they're doing this until they're ready to mark it up to the next phase. Also, if you recall, I like to say that relative equal highs and relative equal lows tend to act like magnets. And so what I'm looking for is, let me, shoot, sorry, I should have had this up. I always like to just have this as an example that you can reference. So what you could see here, like I was saying, you have these automatic reactions up here, and that's what we have here. And then you have selling climax, selling test, what I believe is sell test in phase B. And you can see here in this first schematic that the spring actually goes lower. And so when you get that spring, that's usually a manipulation move. And then you see strong volume come in. And that shows that buyers are stepping in and they're not going to let it go any lower. So that, I guess, could still happen. I don't think it's going to. Let's look at the second schematic now. This is the one I believe is playing out. All right, right? So, and you can see why here, right? So you have selling climax, automatic reaction will be up here. You have sell test, sell test, blah, 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 and then coming back down, sell test in phase B, that marks the low. And then we're chopping around, and what I believe is we're in LPS. What I believe we're waiting for is some news. We need some sort of catalyst to push us up. So hopefully, maybe we'll sweep these relative equal lows real quick, come down to this maybe like 2180-ish area, then start pushing up. And I would like to see us take out these relative equal highs, go into SOS, and then off to the races again and make new highs. I think we can get to this 42-ish, 4250 plus range to take out this new all-time high buy side. So just wanted to flag that. What I don't want what I really don't want to see, especially since I started accumulating calls again, is I don't really want to see that spring. I don't want us to see a new low. If we do, maybe I'll roll out a little bit further just to give more time. But I would want to see volume come in. I would want to see buyers really step in. But the reason why I don't want to see us go lower is because you could also see how we're holding this demand zone where we tested the supply as demand perfectly. And I really just don't want to go any lower. So maybe that's me being selfish, but that's just like what I'm looking for. I'm expecting some sort of news catalyst to bring volume in. I guess any day now, any week now. So all right, so that's ASTS. Now let's look at OKLO. This one's a little bit different, and so it's similar in the sense that it recently ran a ton. So like if we look at the monthly, sorry, I know this is messy, but if we look at the monthly, it ran over 400%. So awesome, right? Same thing, you want to see some consolidation, which we're seeing at this order block from here. So you could say the same thing, like this is actually supply being tested as demand, which is what you want to see. And I'm happy as long as this holds. Okay, let me get rid of this gray box. Oops, didn't mean to do that, but it's okay. Okay, so we're on the daily, and what we could see is so Chase and I in the Discord have been going back and forth on this one. He's still very bullish on it, and I'm very bullish on it long term. I think nuclear is the future, especially with this Trump administration. You get with Oklo, especially, they're getting contracts with big tech to help power data centers, etc. So I think that this is a good one to accumulate for long term shares, commons, as I like to say. Now, I'm going to start talking about imbalances a little bit, and I'm going to talk about distribution. You can note that obviously with ASTS having such a massive push up since May, that there are imbalances. The difference in my mind is that those imbalances are so far down that unless there is like some really crazy catalyst, I don't really see those being explored anytime soon. Maybe once the stock has like clear distribution, then we could revisit that. This one, on the other hand, has imbalances a little bit closer to home that I'm just keeping an eye on. And so the reason why I haven't jumped into calls yet or bought shares yet is because if you remember, if you compare this to ASTS, right? ASTS had a nice rounded bottom and it was clear accumulation. This, I'm not yet sure. It looks like distribution to me. And so like it's kind of like a rounded top. And so what I fear happened recently is we went into LPSY. Let me let me pull up one of the schematics just so you can see, and let me make sure I put it in the chart so you can see it. So my fear is that this was like, if we just even look at this real quick, this is buying this buying climax, automatic reaction, sell test, SOW in phase B, up thrust, UT, LPSY, 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 and it's going to continue this LPSY down further. And so what I'm looking for is this is actually relative equal lows. now. I'd like us to at least take out this level. But I'm looking for this to get back into the discount range. I think it can get below this 1591 level. Ideally touches this golden pocket, which is also the discount range of this weekly fair value gap. It could go a lot lower. We could argue that it gets around this 786, bounces off this breaker if things get really bad. So again, just to recap on this one. And it keeps rejecting this fair value gap, which I believe is a daily. I really don't like when I don't actually label it. Yeah, it's a daily fair value gap we keep rejecting, which is also bearish. So if I was going to go long on this one, what I would personally look for is for us to mark up, retake this fair value gap, maybe take out that buy side level, come back down, test it, and then go. Now, because this is like a squeezy stock, we might not get that retest of the fair value gap, but I just really don't want to touch anything until we're over this fair value gap, to be honest. Now, if you think about what I always like to say is, like, when you think about what institutions like to do is they like to mark things up or push things down, then bring it back to the discount range, which is if you're bullish, is anything below the 0.5. So, right, we have this 0.5 and we have this little order block here that could catch us, bring it down there, and then they could be ready to mark it up from there, and it could go into accumulation from there. Yeah, so I guess those are my thoughts. So still bullish on ASTS because to me it's a clear accumulation. I just really don't want to see it make a new low. OKLO, I'm gonna be patient with. I think it could still go lower before we start accumulating calls and maybe accumulating shares as well. So I hope that helped. Let me know if you have any questions. I know especially OKLO is a little bit, maybe was not what you were expecting to hear because I was bullish today. I do like that volume is coming in, but I just don't like that big rejection candle, which obviously was from yesterday's FOMC. Some nice bullish volume came in today, but it wasn't enough to push us over this fair value gap. So that's why I'm being a little patient with this one. So thank you all for your time.